The following program contains adult language, poor taste in jokes, racial slurs, political slurs, slants, and all sorts of things that if you are sensitive and have a delicate constitution, you should probably go watch Teletubbies. You were warned.
Right, my little friends, it is Tuesday, the next day. This is moving right along. Had some family stuff to do yesterday and got carried away with chatting with the guys on the group and just, not doing my chores. So, next thing we're going to do, now let me recap. So, we made the little plate here, put that in for a little bit more reinforcement. Now, on the back, what I did, this is fiberglass as well, but I mixed micro balloons in it. Okay, you guys remember all this crap? I've had this for 6 years. That's how long this stuff lasts. Silica powder. I mixed that in because why I did it that way, this is a sandwiched hull. So when I cut through the bottom here, there's a gap now because there's like a top and a bottom, and hence why this laminate's in between. So I thickened up the fiberglass real thick, and so it wouldn't ooze. You can see it did ooze in between, which is good. I wanted it to do that. Strength, that's good. But that's why the bottom looks like that. That's why it looks white. Okay? Now, rudder and strut and turn fin. So that's basically about it. And we're going to mount the servo. But so first we're going to do the rudder. Now the rudder I'm using, just a basic little, I think that's a zip kits off of one of the riggers. Phew. So I marked these holes here are indents in the fiberglass where they want you to put your hardware. So that's all I'm going to do. Pretty basic stuff. So this right here, these 4 would be for a Speedmaster rudder. These 4 would be for a Speedmaster strut. And then there's no dimples here, but that's where the plate is for the turn fin. So I'm only using a 2 screwed rudder. All right, that's fine. Again, not a race boat, a sport boat. So, and the same thing goes for our strut. And that strut pretty much will fit hole to hole. We can just literally drill those out. Is that a Speedmaster? Might be. I don't even know. That's okay. It'll work. So, the other thing that's important here that we do, I'm not even going to put this in our shaft tube until probably the very end. Excuse me. I'm going to drill the holes in the transom for this first. And then I'm going to put in 1 bolt. And then I'm going to level this so it's completely perpendicular to the hull. Okay, now, if your strut is a little bit cocked, a degree or 2, not the end of the world. Yeah, you don't want it to be if you can avoid it. But you'll live. So what I'll do is I'll put in a bolt, and then I'll put my digital level on there, and I'll make it so it's totally 90 degrees relative to the, or actually I guess it would be parallel with the bottom, I'm sorry. And then screw in the next one, and then make sure it's leveled each time. It's fine. Like I said, if it's a touch cocked, it's not the end of the world. If your rudder is cocked, that's where you run into problems. So what we're going to do, I'm going to drill some holes in the back for this, and I'm going to mount 1 screw in it, and we'll come back and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so we got that done. I did, hand thread these in for right now. So all I did is I flipped this over, and you take your digital, preferably, okay, you zero that out. And then what I did is I flipped the strut forward so I had a nice flat surface on these 2, and then set it on there, and it should be totally even. You don't want it like this. It should be paralleled out, okay? We're going to do the exact same thing with the rudder. Now, the thing I really like about this hull, besides the fact it's made really well, 1/4-inch ply on the transom. It's awesome. But the thing I really like about it is they actually marked where the hardware goes. It's the first hull I've ever done that's done that. So that's cool. So I'm going to go ahead and slap on the rudder the exact same way, and then we're going to figure out where this servo is going to go. Okay? Which is going to go right about there. Be right back. And we're back. So we got the rudder on. Nice and straight, and everybody's happy there. I'm going to show you a trick that I do with lining up my servo, I mean the servo doesn't need lined up because it's, you know, wherever you put it, but getting your shaft through there properly, okay? I put a piece of tape on there, and if you're using this kind of coupler, okay, you got a set screw on the bottom, you got a 440 rod that goes through there. Hopefully you guys can see this. Okay, then where the hell did it go? I just freaking had it. Hang on. What I do is I take a piece of 440 rod, threaded, that's what we're going to be using, and I grind a sharp point on the end, and I put it in my drill. Okay, then I slide it through the coupler, and I put that little piece of tape there, and it makes a nice little hole right there. So what we're going to do then is we're going to, it doesn't make a hole, we have to drill the hole obviously, but now we've got a nice mark, we know where it's going to be, and I am going to put a boot in there. Okay. When I take the rudder off, I'm gonna make this bigger. I'm gonna take this off, put a bigger hole in there, and put a rubber boot on in there. So rubber boot meaning, of course I don't have one on me. Anyway, the little bellows. So the next thing that I do is I slide this threaded end through here. Threaded end's too big. We can do it this way. Take this off now. You don't even need to use that tape. That's just kind of for guidance. Alright. Then, just for griggles. Now, it's going to be a very, very short dude. So, I'm going to have to put a Z-bend in here to make this thing really ride proper. I might actually just lower it because you don't need a ton of throw on here. I'll drill this hole a little bit bigger, move this down there. But what you want to do, obviously, is align your servo just like that. All right, but you want to make it so when you mount your servo in, when you pull, it goes right. Okay, so when you pull, it's going to turn the boat right. If it's not, flip it around, do it that way. Okay, reason being, 90% of the time we're turning right. So if you're using this, a 440 rod's pretty strong, but if you're using a thinner one, which you can, and you're pushing, you can bow that steering rod and really get some flex and make your boat go crazy. So when you're going right, you want it in the pull direction. Left will be the push direction. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this so there's a little bit of a Z in there, but I'm going to lower this first because I'm meaning drill that, lower it, cut it, and just give myself a little bit more extra room there. Okay, and I'll put a Z-bend in there and we'll come right back. All right, so what I decided to do was actually go with a sideways bend. Instead of going a vertical up and down, I'm going to go sideways. I'm still going to be pulling to turn right, so I'm not worried about it. 440 rod is plenty strong. It ain't going to flex with a boat this size. If this were a gasser, I would not be doing it this way. But it gives me a little bit more rigidity with the servo and kind of gives me some more room going back. And I could file this down, or I could do a lot of different tricks, but matter of fact, I could move my servo up and put it vertical and put it against here and have it shot that way, but then you got an even bigger Z bend. So I did a compound bend, give me a little bit more strength. So I'm going to fiberglass this in pretty much as is, okay, while the servo's in the frame, because I want this depth going this way here. Okay, so if we ever want to take it out, it'll be fine. So I'll scuff this up, mix up some fiberglass just like we did over there. This is already scuffed. I'll clean everything with alcohol, and then I'm just literally going to clamp this in overnight with some fiberglass on it. I'll put down a little piece of cloth and that'll be it. And I think that's enough for this video. Then we got to put in our drain. We got to put in a port for our pickup, which is pretty straightforward. Drill a frickin' hole and drag it through. The ESC is not going in until after paint. We got to put in the turn fin, a couple little miscellaneous things, and then if it's nice tomorrow, maybe throw some paint on this. So anyway, this boat will be done, I would imagine, before the end of the week, easily. But we still have to get our center of gravity right. We have to get all that stuff. So, but coming along pretty easy, nothing big at all. So until tomorrow, kids, keep dry side up. Bye.
Relax, don't do it when you want to go to it. Relax, don't do it when you want to come. Relax, don't do it when you want to suck it to it.